This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Seth. Yeah, we got dumped on in Saratoga. At least a foot. You said out. You're wearing Amsterdam. At least a foot. Also, is a little dicey out there in the roads if you need to be out. And Seth, I was surprised how much traffic there was on the Northway coming down here this morning. I stayed between 40 and 50 miles an hour. I have four-wheel drive. I was comfortable, but of course, you see the crazies.
Yeah.
You see the crazies going 60,
Crazies
65.
Crazies out in the ditch.
Yeah, you know they're with cars that don't have four-wheel drive. But before, in case Aqueduct is canceled today due to the weather, we will be focusing just on Gulfstream Park. But yeah, it's a little nasty up here this morning, Seth.
Yeah, and again, if you don't have to go out, Jeff said it was the same on the Northway. The plows have been out. It's still snowing just lightly. I got here fine. I'm just down the street from the main drag in Amsterdam, which gets right to the thruway. So pretty much I didn't have to be in here. 5, 3, 7, and 6 for me in the opener. I have number 5. Oh, and going back to last time I was in here doing Handicappers Report, it was Fairgrounds on Thursday. It was a decent day. I felt like I said that day, had some nice days at Finger Lakes this fall. I had that big day at Santa Anita, but I felt some of the other tracks I was just kind of treading water. A couple times a week I stick in for Aqueduct, or I guess maybe once a week now. But whatever, I felt I've treaded water down there. But at Fairgrounds, I kind of felt like maybe I'm back in the swing with maybe some of the wintertime tracks now, because it was a fairly decent day at Fairgrounds. Going back to Thursday, but I called 2 plays of the day, and the plays of the day for the last few weeks, and I must apologize because they just haven't. I've been right there, and some of them have hit and haven't had much value. But there was a race on Thursday where I liked a horse making the transition after the first couple of starts on dirt, moved over to the turf, and I looked up the breeding, looked kind of interesting, and ran second at 22-1. I did a little wooden place play there, paid $19 to place. And then I did an exacta box, and I think it was 154. So that got that one, and then there was another play a little later that was not as good, but still made a little bit of a profit. So hopefully we've gotten back on the horse, so to speak. But again, the opener, 5, 3, 7, and 6, the number 5 belief system. It's Ken and Sarah Ramsey, it's Mike Maker, and that was enough to attract some attention, but then you add in the substantial class relief. And again, we've said it a million times before, the class relief, when you're talking about Ramsey, he's a guy who wants to win races. And so the class relief isn't as much of a concern as it might be in other situations. Doesn't raise as many red flags. This is a horse, I think, who has some early speed, but also can sit back and stalk. So I think there's the tactical advantage of being able to do whatever the jockey wants to do when the situation comes up. And the jockey, Javier Castellano, nothing wrong with that either.
He's doing okay.
Yeah, he got a pretty good team here, and the class relief belief system. 3-1, I think, is going to be a little bit generous. Thunder Hole, I want to see, excuse me, where the betting public goes with this one. 2-1 on the morning line. Again, I think Ramsey, Maker, Castellano, and the class drop belief system is going to attract a lot of attention. Thunder Hole, though, it's Live Oak, it's Eddie Plisa, Paco Lopez on board. And I'm wondering if this is a budding horse for a course, because this horse came from Monmouth, moved down to Florida in October, and won very easily in a N2L, but did it with a huge buyer figure of 94. Do note, however, the horse was supposed to win, and supposed to win easily in that race, being 30 cents to the dollar. So I'm not totally sold on this. I think the horse is going to run well today, but I'm not totally sold on that figure, or this horse is going to be that convincing in here today. But I couldn't leave this horse out. Again, may just have a real affinity for the Gulfstream Strip, and if we get a rebound like that, a repeat of that last effort, certainly going to be up there in the hunt. So I have Thunder Hole in, but I'm taking a little bit of a shot against this horse. And again, I'm wondering if those morning line odds won't flip-flop when the betting's over. Number 7, 20-1 on the morning line, Mr. Baker. Here's one that does need to rebound. This horse, 2 starts back, nice 80 buyer figure in a little tougher competition. So again, gets a little bit of class relief, and that may provide for the rebound today. That was my thinking there. Edgar Prado on board. And again, that 20-1 looks, it won't shock me off the past couple of finishes if that holds up. But I think on the class relief, maybe we will get a little bit of a better effort today, and so that 20 to 1 could add some value to the play. In the opener, 5, 3, 7, and 6.
Yeah, I didn't really see it any different, and like you said, the number 3 Thunder Hole, I put it in the second spot. I just did this real quick before we came on. Yeah, it's a really nice race at Gulfstream Park, right where he's going to run today, but that was mid-October for this $25,000 level, and you wonder what he was running against. Horses always run huge numbers when they're against weak competition. Just remember that. Let's move along to the second race at Gulfstream Park. It is a 1.16 miles on the turf. It is a claiming event for fillies and mares 3 and up, which have not won 3 races, or have not won a race on the turf since June 13th. The claiming price is $16,000.
2, 6, 8, and 5. The number 2 is Love Shack, and I just think this horse is going to appreciate the return to turf. This horse, I think, is a bona fide turf horse. You look at the career record, has some wins on the dirt, but I think if you look down the page, probably better, a little bit better anyway, on turf. Last time out was in an off-the-turf race and threw in a real clunker. Now, that could have been due to the sloppy track, but again, I just think the return to the turf, slight amount of class relief, going to be enough to get Love Shack up in the mix. I think that 15 to 1 is not going to hold up. I think the betting public will see just what I see. I think that 15 to 1 kind of is sitting on that last race, but again, that just looks like an aberration to me. Sloppy, off the turf race. Going back to the turf today, Love Shack, I think, is going to rebound to a better performance. Second spot, we will go to Zeffy, 20 to 1 on the morning line. I think the 20 to 1 is on the class relief, but I think the numbers fit with this bunch. So again, on the class relief, yeah, I can see the 20 to 1, and the horse may, like Jeff said, they run big numbers against lesser competition, and sometimes they can regress when they move up the ladder. So, maybe the horse will have trouble, but if this horse can hold those numbers that she has been firing, I think Zeffy belongs in with this mix. Third spot, the number 8, Longing for Quiet. This horse has been off since late October, but if this horse is ready, certainly will contend with this bunch. I'm going to do a little 4-horse exacta play of the day in here, just because of the morning lines. As I say, I think Love Shack will float down. I think Zeffy might hold up on the class jump, because it's a pretty significant class jump. But as I say, I think the numbers fit, so I'll take a shot throwing that one in the mix. Also, Guyana in the fourth spot for me, the number 5 horse, is another one at 6 to 1. It's a nice big field. You have 14 entered in here, plus some also eligible, so I think a big field will hold. So certainly these odds can hold in their neighborhood. As I say, Love Shack will float down, but maybe not too much. But overall, I think there will be some value in the play. We'll take a shot. I'm going to tread lightly. It's not the kind of race I would jump into with a whole lot of gusto, but at the odds, I'll do a 4-horse exacta box, 2, 6, 8, and 5.
Seth, I saw a possible live long shot, the number 11 to me, Good Mother Fran, 12 to 1 the morning line. Dylan Davis, the apprentice, aboard. His last race was in this 16,000, never won 3 life, and that was coming off a little bit of a break. It never won 2 life for 16,000 August 24th, and didn't run again until November 1st. Only 2 works in the interim there now since then, and in that race on November 1st, first time at this level, never won 3 life, just kind of hung a little bit late, got beat a little bit less than 3 lengths, but since then has had 4 works, and maybe they're putting the screws to it a little bit more. So at 12 to 1, maybe the 11 Good Mother Fran might be a decent long shot. Let's move on to the third race at Gulfstream Park, 6 furlongs maiden claiming event for 2-year-old fillies, claiming price of $32,000.
David, 7, 2, 3, and 6. The number 7 is Coconut Row. Just the class relief here, the significant class relief. Maiden special weight to maiden claimer. A very, very potent move always, and I think this one, you add that to a cutback in distance. I think you have a couple of angles that make Coconut Row very interesting. 5 to 1 also attracts my attention. Second spot, KB Biorhythms. Claimed last time out for $40,000, comes back for $32,000. Started the career in maiden special weight company, ran an okay 4th, improved nicely with the drop in for the tag, showed some speed and ran a good 2nd. So you now have a little additional class relief. This horse already proven to be competitive for a claiming price, and then you throw in that nice bullet work only 3 days ago. I think KB Biorhythms is going to be very, very interesting in here. And then Vengeful, Speaking of interesting, I think this could be an interesting first-time starter. Yes by Jiminy is a sire that attracts a little bit of attention for me. It's still early for that one, but this one had a sibling called Princess at Peace, by piece rules that was 0 for 8. So on the bottom side, maybe not as exciting. But again, there's just a little bit of appeal there to take a shot for a Vengeful. Fresh face in a field of a few of these horses who I think probably are maybe a little overmatched as compared certainly to my top two. So why not take a shot with one of the fresh face factor horses in here, Vengeful, in the third spot. So for me, 7, 2, 3, and 6.
I kind of like a little bit maybe the number 8 Farewell Kiss. You're going to have to forgive her last race at the maiden $50,000 level where she just never picked her feet up. But before that, Seth, at this $32,000 level in her second start, she closed well, finished second by a half length. Got Corey Lannery aboard, 6-1 the morning line. You just have to forgive that last race. 2-year-old filly, sometimes you just don't know what they're going to do when they go out there. Hopefully she'll run back to that race. Moving on to the fourth race at Gulfstream Park. 1 mile. It is a claiming event for 3 and up, which have never won 2 races. The claiming price is $10,000.
6, 7, 8, and 1. The number 6 is Gaetano T. Maybe a light bulb moment last time. Excuse me. Took 12 starts to break the maiden, but sometimes once they do it, they can go right through that N2L level. This one broke the maiden for 12.5, comes back 10,000 N2L. So almost a lateral move, maybe dropping in claiming price, but moving up condition-wise. So Gaetano T, again, maybe just took a while to figure it out. Certainly the buyer figure over the last couple of starts has come alive a little bit. So we'll see. As I say, this horse just seems to be in some pretty good form and might have figured it out. Second spot, the number 7, Jump for Kitten, goes out for Ken and Sarah Ramsey and Wesley Ward and gets some serious class relief for this bunch. Threw in a dud last time on the synthetic at Keeneland and, in fact, has never started on the dirt, and that's the question mark here. 8 starts on turf, 3 starts on synthetic. Will this horse take to the turf? Well, the fact of the matter is the class drop may mitigate the move in surface. This horse may just have a class edge on this bunch. So Jump for Kitten in the mix. And then the number 8, Casino Day, claimed last time out at this 10 level, was in a 10B claimer last time, ran a good second. Prior to that, had been running against better. So got some class relief last time, ran an okay second. I think from the B to the N2L, probably a touch more additional class relief. Casino Day should be in the mix also. In the fourth, 6, 7, 8, and 1.
The horse I like is the number 1, Top Excitement. The thing I didn't like about this race, Seth, and these never won 2 lifetimes, I don't like to see horses with a lot of starts, and all these horses have had just too many starts for me to get overly excited about anybody. But if I go to the number 1, Top Excitement, maybe he is my top excitement of the race. Forgive his last race where they tried him on the turf at the $25,000 level. Before that, for $16,000 and an off the turfer, he was second. So he has the 1 hole, 3-1 the morning line. That's who I would go with. We're going to take our next break. We've got 4 races in the book at Gulfstream Park. So when we come back, we'll do races 5 through 7. Please stay tuned. You're watching the OTB TV network.
This is Steve Beck. Join me Tuesday through Saturday here on OTB TV for At the Races, my Sirius XM daily news magazine of the thoroughbred industry. Handicapping, interviews, analysis, everything you could want. 6 a.m. OTB TV.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
Wagering at CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Capital Bet TV, the fastest and easiest online wagering experience where you can monitor 5 different tracks simultaneously. 2. Capital Bet Express. Its straightforward program layout and interactive handicapping information lets you build your wager quickly and efficiently. And 3. Capital Bet Pro, designed especially for the professional horse player. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Missed one of our TV shows? No worries. Now you can catch all your favorite programs online. Simply log on to CapitalOTB.com and click on the YouTube link at the bottom of the homepage. And look for our new podcast coming soon. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Good morning and welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Jeff Carl with Seth Merrill. We braved the elements and we got here today. They're not going to be braving the elements down at Aqueduct. They have canceled. Probably a prudent move. I don't think they got as much snow as we got, but Seth and I were talking before they came on air. It was supposed to kind of change over to sleet and freezing rain. You've got to transport those horses. Most of them come from Belmont Park, plus the track condition you have to take into consideration. So
you freeze and thaw and that kind of thing is not good.
Yeah, so now they'll take care of it. They're not scheduled to return until Wednesday. Aqueduct is canceled today. Before the break, we gave you Seth and a little bit of my selection for races 1 through 4 at Gulfstream Park. We're going to move on to race number 5, 1 mile on the turf. It is a maiden claiming event. Fillies and mares 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, claiming price of $25,000.
And I'm making a little bit of a side wager here. I am betting that Kiss Me Again will finish last in this race. So tuck that in your back pocket. But on the other side of the...
Who's taking action on that?
Exactly. On the other side of the field, I have a 2, 11, 6, and 14. The number 2 is Love That Kelly. Ran a couple of similar races, the last couple, at the Meadowlands and at Belmont back in October, a 3rd place and a 3rd place, but the buyer figure last time. And in fact, if you go 3 and 4 starts back, I think certainly have a little bit of maybe a numbers edge on most of this field. So I think, again, class-wise fits. The numbers, I think, again, have a little bit of an edge on most of these in here. So Love That Kelly on top for me. Second spot, the number 11, Amber Morning. This is a New York bred who's been based up on the NYRA circuit for the first 4 starts of the career. Been racing against state-bred maidens. Running okay. Last time, and 2 starts back, showed a little bit of speed. Last time sat back and closed a little bit. Adds the blinkers today. So let's see if we can get that speed that we saw 2 starts back and maybe from the outside post be prominent early and then be the one to catch late. Third spot, we'll go with the number 16, Exceed the Limit. This horse laid off from February until November. I'm hoping the November race puts some fitness in. The November race was a comeback over the class drop to 16, bounces up to 25, but prior to the break was up at the 35 level and was throwing some decent numbers in that I think stack up with this field. So again, I'm hoping that first race back added a little fitness and we rebound closer to those numbers we saw last season here at Gulfstream Park. So for me in the 5th, 2, 11, 6, and 14.
You know, Seth, the number 1, Kiss Me Again, probably will finish last. And it's interesting that Gulfstream Park has now eliminated 6-year-old and up maidens. It's only 3, 4, and 5. But this horse should not be allowed to run. It's number 1, Kiss Me Again. She hasn't even registered a buyer number since July, and she's obviously doesn't want to be a racehorse. And there used to be a rule in New York that if you didn't finish 4th or better in like 10 consecutive starts, something like that, you became ineligible. And somebody should show some mercy for this filly, not keep running her out there. For me in this race, I kind of like the number 5, Fabulous Nicole, because she hasn't had as many starts as many in these races. She's 12-1 with Paco Lopez. She's a daughter of Mount Brook, who I'm a big fan of. Best filly ever trained. Autumn Creek was in Mount Brook, finished third in the Black-Eyed Susan with her. And, this filly's only run twice. Last time out was at Tampa, back in April, maiden special weight. Finished 4th, got beat less than 5 lengths, so 12-1 with Paco Lopez. I might want to throw her in the mix, Mr. Seth. Let's move along to race number 6 at Gulfstream Park. It is 1 mile. It is an allowance optional claiming event for 2-year-olds. This is essentially an entry-level allowance race for 2-year-olds.
I have it 8, 7, 3, and 9. The number 8 is Coup de Grace, and I know how to pronounce Coup de Grace. It's not Coupe de Grace, and I only bring that up because, Jeff, you and I were in here on Thursday when I did Fairgrounds, and there was the horse that you look. There was I pronounced it Euphrosyne. I was validated in that John Dooley, the track announcer, also pronounced it Euphrosyne. But when we were on the air, you looked it up, and Euphrosyne, as you found, was a Greek, one of the Greek three graces. And I eventually looked it up further. I was kind of interested, and was the goddess of mirth or something like that. But as soon as I read that, and this was before the race went off, I said, well, it's not Euphrosyne. It's Euphrosyne. If it's a Greek god, it's got to be Euphrosyne. And I then looked up, found a pronunciation that was an audio pronunciation, and sure enough, it's Euphrosyne. But as I say, I was happy to be at least validated in that John Dooley down at Fairgrounds also mistakenly pronounced it Euphrosyne. But again, it's being a Greek god or goddess had to be Euphrosyne. And so I just wanted to make that clear that I took the time to look it up afterwards, but I do know how to pronounce Coup de Grace, the number 8 horse in here. And that goes out for Chad Brown. No, master the obvious in here. It's 2-1, Fox Hill Farm, Chad Brown, career debut. Was very good at Aqueduct early in November. I think the comeback effort it potentially can be just as good given the makeup of the rest of this field. I think the buyer fired in that career debut certainly has an edge on this bunch. Second spot, we will go with Prudhoe Bay, the number 7 horse at Place It Trains, and this one is another debut winner, now coming back for the second career start. Won right here at Gulfstream early last month as the 8-5 favorite in a field of 12. Did it with a nice buyer figure. Anytime you can beat a field of 12, that shows you got some talent. So I'll put that one in the second spot. And then High Kodiak Warrior, the number 3, in the third spot. Took 3 to break the maiden, but then followed right up with a allowance non-winners of 1 other than victory. Was DQ'd. That explains the eligibility for the non-winners of 1 other than today. But again, I think the maiden breaker and the follow-up put this one right in the hunt today. Race number 6, 8, 7, 3, and 9. 8, 7, 3, and 9.
And they're going to throw some blinkers on the number 3 High Kodiak Warrior. Comment is he ducked in late, so he probably saw something that spooked him a little bit and decided he wanted to make a little bit of a left-hand turn. So blinkers, maybe that'll help straighten him out. Let's move along to the 7th race at Gulfstream Park. Mile and the 16th on the turf. It is an allowance optional claiming event. Fillies and mares 3 and up.
Tough race. I mean, kind of an interesting competitive race. I went 13, 6, 5, and 11. 13, I had to go with Mike Maker and Ken and Sarah Ramsey. 4-1 on the morning line. Last time out, the buyer figure was a little disappointing, as was the finishing position at Churchill on the grass. Prior to that, at Keeneland, won a 50 claimer. I think probably going to fit in this 25,000 non-winners of 1 other than condition. And I think if you look at the figures, 2, 3, 4 starts back, this horse is going to fit pretty nicely. Javier Castellano on board. And again, I think it's Maker and Ramsey. They're spotting the horse well and should be competitive today. Question mark, of course, is going to be leaving from the 13 post. Going to have to get some decent position early. Otherwise, may just be out of it by the time they come out of the first turn. But again, I think Castellano will be the guy to make a move and put this horse in some decent position. Second spot, the number 6 Exclude, goes out for Graham Motion. First time in the United States. Motion horses usually do pretty well off of that transfer. First couple of starts in France. Broke the maiden in the career debut back in April. Followed that up in September. Wasn't quite as good. Then subsequently comes over to the United States and adds Lasix. So I think you have to wonder about that last race. Maybe there was a little bleeding that prompted the move to the United States and the use of Lasix. But I think given that career debut, Exclude could be pretty interesting today on the United States debut. And then the number 5, Dancing for Glory, comes out of a couple of nice starts up in New York, Saratoga, and then followed up at Aqueduct. Both of those seem to indicate this horse is coming to hand nicely for trainer Chad Brown. Should be up in the hunt again. I think you can point at a few in here and make decent cases. Again, I think it's a fun, competitive race with a big field. Should be some nice value. I have it 13, 6, 5, and 11.
Yeah, it's really tough with a 14-horse field of sussing these out. It looks like there's enough speed in here that maybe they'll stretch out a little bit. I did kind of notice the number 6 Exclude also. Just can't ignore these European horses coming over here and getting the Lasix. One first time out. This is only her 3rd career start. So to me, I thought Exclude was pretty darn interesting. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll finish out today's Gulfstream Park card. So please stay tuned. You're watching the OTB TV Network.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrill.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Here in upstate New York, no one provides bettors with more wagering options than Capital OTB. Our network of branch and easy bet locations stretches from the mid-Hudson Valley all the way to the Canadian border and west to central New York. So whether you need to place a bet, fund your Capital Bets account, or watch the next big race, all the action is just around the corner. A full list of our branch and easy bet locations can be found online at CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB, the better and most convenient choice for wagering in upstate New York.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB television network.
Good morning and welcome back to the Handicappers Report. In case you missed it at the top of the show and throughout the show, Aqueduct has canceled today due to the inclement weather. We've been focusing on today's Gulfstream Park card. Races 1 through 7 are in the books. We're going to move along to race number 8. It is 7.5 furlongs on the turf, 9th running of the South Beach Stakes. $100,000 up for grabs. Fillies and Mares 3 and up.
I have a 2, 6, 9, and 8. The number 2 is Silverette. And I'm just looking. This horse is kind of interesting. This horse has been sprinting. 5.5 furlongs, Saratoga Parks, Keeneland. Been doing okay. A couple of those were wins. Excuse me, and stretches out today. And stretches out, interestingly, 7.5 down at Gulfstream is 2 turns. So I'm wondering if this horse might try to steal it. Look at that workout back on December 4th. Really blazed over at Palmettos on the turf. This horse, to me, could be interesting. Leaves from the 2-hole, could be sent coming off of those 5.5 furlong sprints. And if so, could be tough to reel in. So just looking for a kind of interesting pace play here with the number 2, Silverette. Second spot, the number 6, Baffle Me, comes off of a couple of wins at this 7 furlong distance. Now at Belmont, it's not 2 turns, so this is going to be a little bit different, but certainly this horse has proven to be very potent sprinting on turf at this similar 7 furlong distance. So Javier Castellano on board today. Baffle Me, to me, looks like probably the one to beat. Third spot, Sisterhood goes out for Wesley Ward, Ken and Sarah Ramsey. I'm going back to some numbers earlier this year, and in fact, late in this Gulfstream meet last year. Last couple of numbers fired, not as good, but it is Wesley Ward, it is Ken and Sarah Ramsey. I'm hoping this horse can, as I say, rebound to some numbers fired earlier. A little bit of a crystal ball here, but again, ran well over this course last year, at least number-wise, and if we can get back to those, I think they'll be competitive with this field. In the South Beach today, I have it 2, 6, 9, and 8.
You know, these 7.5 furlong turf races at Gulfstream Park, 14 horses, and you can usually eliminate some of the outside horses, and what makes it a little bit easier about this particular race is it doesn't look like the outside horses really would have figured anyway. Another horse I thought was interesting was the number 7, Anna Luisa, coming out of the Todd Pletcher's barn, making her first start in America. 4 starts in Brazil. First 3 were winners, and then was second. Going to get Lasix for the first time. You're not going to get much of a price as you got Pletcher and Rosario. But I think, fresh face is always interesting, so we'll see what happens today. But like I said, I mean, you don't have to really be concerned about the horses posted toward the outside because they didn't look like they figured anyway.
And I didn't know what to do with that 7. I had some notes and check marks there. This is a horse that won the first 3 starts of the career. They were in Brazil. I've said it before. I take a wait and see, usually with these South Americans, a wait and see attitude.
Different than the Europeans that
Yeah,
come over.
yeah,
Because Europeans we know
yeah.
just are so strong.
But these can go either way. Sometimes they live up to what you've seen down there, and sometimes they're just outclassed when they make the move. So I wasn't sure. Also, this is a 3-year-old stepping up against older today. So there was enough there for me to take a little bit of a stand against. But for somebody who is jumping on board, I wouldn't argue, Pletcher, Rosario, I mean, you certainly have a couple of things right there that say, okay, I can take a shot.
Let's move along to the 9th at Gulfstream Park. 6 furlongs, allowance optional claiming event for 2-year-old fillies. Nobody's in for the claiming price. This is essentially an entry-level allowance race.
4, 2, 11, and 3. The number 4 is only for you. Again, Todd Pletcher, Javier Castellano, so nothing wrong there. This is a second-time starter. This one broke the maiden in the career debut by Malibu Moon. That's not surprising. This was a $115,000 yearling purchase, so validated that confidence, winning again at Aqueduct in the career debut as the 2-to-1 favorite in a field of 10. Did it in a manner that I think, just looking at the rest of this field, that says if this horse can go back to that effort from last time, will be tough in here again today. Second spot, Dreaming of Aunt Diane. Dreaming of Aunt Diane, another one that won the career debut, Kirk Zaidi, 41% since coming back off a little bit of a star-crossed break did Mr. Zaidi go on. But again, doing high percentage, crazy high percentage on the comeback. And this one, another maiden debut winner, 2-to-1, wins in a field of 11, and did so again in a manner that says this field should fit the move up into the ranks of limited winners. And then the third spot, the number 11, Benny's Bombshell. It's going to be fun to see what this horse does. The buyer figure was nice, wins the career debut by over 18 lengths. This horse could be any kind, but coming in from Mountaineer. So what was this horse facing at Mountaineer? As I say, this will be a fun race just to see what Benny's Bombshell is able to do. Get a little barometer maybe on the Mountaineer maidens as this one moves forward. But Benny's Bombshell, like I say, it could have gone either way. Hard to leave the horse out with a win that's a maiden win, a maiden debut win that's the better part of 20 lengths. But being at Mountaineer, we'll see. We'll see. In the 9th, though, I have 4, 2, 11, and 3.
Yeah, the number 11, Benny's Bombshell, definitely intriguing. Won by over 18 lengths, going 5.5 furlongs. So that's not like it was like a 6 furlong or 7 furlong race. To open up 18-plus lengths on the field at 5.5 furlongs, you're obviously pretty quick. Seth, I don't know if you could help me out here, but it's the workout pattern for Benny's Bombshell. The track listed as HPT. Any idea what that would be?
I have looked that up before, and now I don't remember. And if folks want to look it up, if you go to Equidaily on the right-hand side of the page, I have a link to the abbreviations that are provided by Equibase, and it'll tell them there. And it just gives the name of the facility as with the abbreviation. And then you can go to Google or something and type it in, and you'll find out more. I have looked it up, but I've forgotten now.
And I think I just noticed, went off at a short price, but wasn't favored in her debut. It's going to be very interesting. I think that's a really intriguing entry-level allowance race at Gulfstream Park. So fun races down there today. Let's move along to the finale at Gulfstream, race number 10. 1 mile on the turf. It is a maiden claiming event for 2-year-olds. Claiming price of $75,000 down to $65,000.
5, 14, 11, and 7. The number 5 is War Artist. I like with distinction runners first time out of the box or early on. This one early on, first time out of the box, maiden special, 10th of November, ran 5th. Now drops in for 70 tag by Wesley Ward. Moves over to the grass today after a 5.5 furlong sprint on the dirt. I just think there's a number of angles. The move to the grass and with the distinction is kind of interesting as well. 15-1 on the morning line. Again, with the move to grass, I think this one could be very interesting. On the bottom side, the dam produced a couple of siblings that were winners in South America. So, with distinction on top, the dam has produced some winners. could be kind of interesting with this one kicking over the turf, dropping in for a tag. Second spot, the number 14, Ack Rider. Henry the Navigator on top. That attracts a little attention for me. This is a first-time starter from Chad Brown. Hung outside, that is a knock, certainly. But this one had a sibling called Praudinsky. Folks may remember that one. Praudinsky was a debut winner in Germany, but then came over here to the United States and became a multiple graded stakes winner, but hung way outside. So that's a little dicey, especially for the career debut. Then the number 11, Cross Boundary by Big Brown. This is a second-time starter, but like my top pick, with Big Brown, I'm thinking win sooner rather than later. The bullet work the other day attracts my attention. I'll also throw Aunt Ruby's Kitten into the mix because I'm going to do a little four-horse exacta box in here. I'm also going to do a win place on my top pick. So again, a little play of the day in here. Win place on the number 5, War Artist, and we'll box up my top 4. Again, it's a little bit dicey on the 14. That one just, it wouldn't shock me if Chad Brown scratched, but if that one does come in and doesn't run as well as I'm expecting today, Ack Rider may be one to at least keep in mind going forward. But again, win place on the number 5, box up the top 4, 5, 14, 11, and 7.
Yeah, the 5 was going to be my lifelong shot there. And yeah, War Artist number 5. You know, I like the fact that running the first time out, 5.5 furlongs, ran nice and evenly. We've talked about that often on this show, that usually bodes well when they stretch out. Many people think, oh boy, a horse closes well sprinting, they're going to stretch out well. Well, a lot of them end up being closing sprinters, but horses that just kind of run evenly, have that same cadence, when you stretch them out, ends up they start passing more and more horses down the lane. So, you know, this was a $65,000 2-year-old purchase, so, you know, they thought enough of her at the 2-year-old sales to pay that kind of money. Dylan Davis aboard, son of Robbie Davis, nice young apprentice rider, 15-1. I think it's worth taking a shot.
I hear you. I'm right on board with that. All right, that'll wrap things up for the Handicappers Report for this morning. Again, we concentrated on Gulfstream because Aqueduct is canceled for today. The funky weather out there took its toll, but we're in, and we're looking south, at least at Gulfstream, but we'll also toss in Calder, Gulfstream, Woodbine, Fairgrounds, Hawthorne, Hollywood, Dover, Mountaineer, Pompano, Balmoral, and a little later on this evening. Hey, it's summertime down. Well, it's actually springtime down there in Australia, Australia A and Australia B. I say it's springtime because summer hasn't turned down there in Australia, just the way winter hasn't turned here. Hard to believe, but it is still autumn here in upstate New York. Crazy.
Oh, my goodness.
Don't forget, if you didn't get a chance to write down our selections, you can go over to the Capital OTB website, capitalotb.com, right-hand side of the page. Handicappers Report link, click on that nice printable page with the selections each and every day. Also, Bet 50, Get 50 continues this month. If you don't yet have a Capital Bets wagering account, sign up. You can take advantage of capitalotbbet.com, which is our new wagering platform. State of the art, and I will agree with that, as you can very easily monitor 5 tracks. There's 5 live videos going. As you see there, you have 4 little postage stamp sized ones, but when you decide that's the track you want to go, you click on it, and it becomes the main view. So a lot of bells and whistles that make it, again, state-of-the-art, capitalotbbet.com. All right, that's going to wrap things up for the Handicappers Report for this Sunday morning. Seth Merrill and Jeff Carl. We're going to head out of here. Coming up next, it's Loose on the Lead. Stay tuned.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.